Hey guys, welcome to stream. I'm just setting up the camera right now. It'll be a minute before we get into the building. I just gotta get this situated. I had it sitting kind of okay before, but my stand completely collapsed underneath the phone, so I'm gonna have to just fiddle around with this for a minute. Maverick Hunter 13 says, I missed the 25th and couldn't get a JoJo hobby box. Yes, I actually missed the... I forgot about it on the 25th, and I just barely got one on the 26th. So I kind of lucked out there. But yeah, I actually completely forgot to get one the month before. That's why I didn't really do a video or anything like announcing that the pre-orders were up. So this worked last time. It's being a little more finicky this time. So the plan for tonight is to build some Gaia Gundam. So right now, I think I got the camera pretty much how I want it to be. It's not the greatest angle, but with the equipment I have right now, this is about as good as it gets. So we got about 22 people in the room right now. I think that's pretty good. So I think I talked about this in the unboxing, but I've wanted this kit for a very long time. And I never really wanted to pay like a ton of money for it on Amazon or something because it's a seed high grade. I mean, it's not going to be that great. Like, I wanted it just because I like the design, and I think it's kind of a neat kit, but this isn't something that, you know, you'd want to pay like big bucks on eBay for or something. What are my thoughts on the Gaia Gundam? I think it's okay. I don't really like it as much as the Bear Guy. I don't like the Bear Guy as much as the Momo Carpool. I think as far as like kind of kawaii mascot builds go, I think the Momo Carpool is the absolute gold standard that all the others should be measured by from this point onwards, because that was just a masterpiece. So the Abawaku pre-orders go live the 25th of each month? Yes, they go live on the 25th, and they usually don't stay live for much longer than that because they tend to sell out pretty freaking quick. Hey, I review Gunpla, and I was wondering if I could get some advice on how to improve it. I would say plan what you're saying first, so you're not rambling too much or stumbling over your words. And then don't be afraid to edit the video afterwards. Like, I'm very, very aggressive when I'm editing my videos. Anytime that I like screw up a line or I pause for too long or there's like a really loud lip smack right next to the microphone, I always make sure to cut that out. I just keep it nice and clean and straightforward and informative, and I basically just edit videos the way I want to see videos made. Some people like more kind of casual, long-form videos that don't have a lot of editing to them. I personally don't. I like to edit my videos very, very cleanly and concisely, so I try to do that with all the stuff that I make. And it is a pain in the ass. You're going to spend a lot of time editing. I usually spend about 4+ hours editing each video they make, but the end result is always worth it. So, imagine the Astray Turned Red HD as P Bandai. God, I'll hate it. I can't really see them making an Astray Turned Red HD. I can't really see them making really any new HD Astrays just because the mold, it's not that old. It's not awful. I'd say it's still pretty good. But I feel like it's just old enough that Bandai wouldn't really bother with it that much. What was the first kit that I built? Well, I've answered this question a lot of times, but I'm going to just say it right now because it doesn't really take a lot of time to answer. High-grade double riser condenser type. Picked it up because it was $1 cheaper on Amazon than the normal version of the double riser, and I liked it an awful lot, and that's why I'm here today. P Bandai kits hurts my feelings and also my wallet. Yep, that's very true. Does the HGCE Destiny have back weapon slots compatible with both weapons to switch how they're mounted? I think so. So, let me see if I can just pop this off here. Yes. So the mounting bracket on each side is exactly the same. I think the two weapons plug into different parts of this connector, but either one can go in either connector. So just to test that out, I'm going to see if I can put the rifle in this side, and I'm going to put the sword in this side. And yeah, they just slot right into place. You can put them on whichever side whichever side you want. If you're doing like a Destiny Impulse custom or something, and you want to do like the 2 railguns, you could do that. You could do 2 swords. You got a lot of options. With how wide the hanger piece thing here, I don't even remember what that's called, builder system base or something, it extends out really wide, because it's meant for both high grades and master grades. Even at its highest width, with the Destiny's wings folded all the way back, he just barely fits in. He's almost too wide for it. How was your day? My day was pretty good, actually. It's always nice the day after I make a video, because I'm not really like stressed out about, oh, I got to make that video today, I got to get it done, or if I don't get it done today, I got to get it done tomorrow. And it's like that whole rush to get it. Not really a rush, but like, like I got to get this done. But then when the day after, it's like, okay, good, I got that video out of the way, I can relax a little bit, I can plan the next one. It's a nice feeling. Hey, Channel 2S, do you do custom builds? Not right now, but I actually did pick up the supplies over the summer for a little bit of a project I might be doing. Well, I was going to do it over the summer, but the summer's basically over, so maybe I'll do it in the fall. In Japan, they read right to left, but all Gundam manuals are left to right. Why? You know what? That is actually a very good question that I've asked myself before, and I've never really found an answer for it. That is an excellent question. Since I'm getting both versions of it, I'm going to give Hind Destiny dual swords and regular both beam cannons. Yeah, you could absolutely do that. I think that would look pretty cool. I kind of feel bad the blue frame doesn't have an RG, and that's a shame. I would have seen blue frame second L revised and blue frame type D. Yeah, I would love to see a real grade blue frame second L. I'm not really a big real grade guy. I've never liked them as much as master grades or high grades. But when it comes to the Astrays, I am a big Astray fanboy, and I've got the red frame, I've got the gold frame. Bandai, if you made a blue frame to go with those, that's not just the standard cop-out palette swap, that would be awesome. When is Bandai going to make a Master Grade Gira Zulu? Probably when they run out of other unicorn kits to make, which is probably going to be in like 20 years, because there's a lot of stuff they can make from unicorn before a Gira Zulu. Anything to say to a beginner? Don't worry too much about being a beginner. As far as just like basic snap building Gunpla, it's actually not that hard. You just follow the instructions, be careful, make sure you have the proper tools. You don't need a pair of God hand nippers like this, but just any pair of like flush cutting cutters. And what you want to make sure is that the cutting blades meet together like this. You don't want something like a pair of scissors where the blades shear past each other. You just want something where they cut straight on each other like this. Anything that cuts like that is going to be perfectly fine for getting the parts off the runners. In fact, my first couple kits I actually built using a pair of nail scissors, and they worked pretty well for the time. Now, if you are going to be using a rougher pair of cutters, the absolute must-have tool that you shouldn't go without is your hobby knife. You can get a hobby knife like this for like $4. They're very cheap, they're very sharp, and they're one of the most helpful tools you'll ever have when you're building Gunpla. In fact, I would say the knife is almost more important than the cutter. Now, alternatively, you could use a sanding stick. I don't really like using sanding sticks. I still, to this day, after having built almost 100 kits, I still use a knife for almost all my nub removal. I just find it works faster and it doesn't scuff up the plastic. So yeah, just make sure you have the right tools and just follow the instructions. It's pretty straightforward. My wish is that Bandai makes a revived version of the HG Heavy Arms. Yes, that would be awesome. I mean, hey, they made Sandrock. They're probably going to make Ultron or Shenlong soon, since they got like half the kit for it from Build Divers. Maybe Heavy Arms not far behind. What's your opinion on the MG Unicorn, not the Verka? I'm assuming you mean like just the normal OVA one. Well, it's not great. The kit's got some problems. The OVA version improves about 40% of them, but it's still really fiddly. If you want to go for it, get it. It is a little bit more on the expensive side, which makes it a hard recommendation given its quality. But it's not abysmally horrible. It's just bad enough that if you're not like a massive hardcore unicorn fan, I can't really recommend it. As for why I myself don't like it, I'm personally not a fan of the proportions. I think the limbs look really spindly and not as, like, it doesn't look really as full and beefy as the real grade does, although that one kind of goes a little bit too far on that side of the spectrum. I would say as far as proportions go, the perfect grade and the mega size pretty much perfectly capture them, and then the master grade leans a bit on the skinnier side, and then the real grade leans a little bit on the thicker side. Got the MG Red Dragon because you're a Stray fan? Man, I wish I had an MG Red Dragon. That kit looked absolutely insane, but unfortunately I couldn't afford it at the time it came out. Which sucks, because that was a super dope looking kit. It's basically, it's because like the standard red frame, you get like the backpack and the rifle and the shield, so like all the classic red frame parts you don't get with the red frame Kai, but then you get all those cool Kill-to-Witch parts. Yeah, it's a super awesome kit. I really like it, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get my hands on one. You ever thought about when will Bandai make a Lord Astray and Astray Amaterasu? I've actually never heard of the Amaterasu. Lord Astray, I don't know if they do that. I feel like the Astray hype train, as far as like Bandai variants and stuff, is kind of fizzling out a little bit. It's not quite as big as it used to be. I feel like they're kind of starting to phase out the Astray in favor of other, you know, variant, I guess like variant platforms or like kits they can make once and then make a crap ton of variations of. I feel like there's newer kits they're starting to rotate in for the Astray that kind of fit that niche for them. Every time I see Gunpla news about the Mudrock, I get Lex Luthor versus Iron Man flashbacks. Man, that Mudrock is so cool. I did unfortunately just see on Twitter earlier that it is not going to be picked up by Bluefin, which sucks majorly, but I am still going to do my best to get one because I love the Mudrock. How much color correction needs to be done in the Gaia Gundam? Well, it depends on whether or not you're using stickers. So the stickers here, you can see the sticker sheet it's not small. It's a pretty big sheet. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to paint the areas that have stickers over them. As far as things you don't even get stickers for, there's a fair amount, I'd say. Right off the bat, you'll notice that if you look at her rifle, you can see that it is wonderfully multicolored on the box, but the actual kit pieces are just solid gray. So basically everything on the gun you're going to have to paint. And actually, you know what? Before I start building, I want to get another light in here because it's kind of dark on this side of the room. So I'm going to try to wiggle a light out of the snarl of cables in the corner of my room. Come on. And try to do this without knocking down the light that I already have set up by my window, which is going to be a bit of a challenge. Come on. So this is completely tangled up. Come on. And just get this out of the way. Throw this over here. I'm going to put you right here. And boom. There we go. There we go. That is a lot better. So carefully step over the cables. Roll my chair into place. Okay. Shouldn't be too awkward to work with the cables here. Yeah, I think we're set. Would you buy an MG Bawu? I don't think so. I actually really like the Re-100, and I'm not as MG obsessed as some builders are, where they like have to have it as an MG. I really don't care. I just want to see a cool looking Bawu kit, and that's exactly what Bandai gave me in the Re-100 line. What is our underrated Gunpla kits for you? Oh boy, I got some answers for this one because this is something I think about a lot. I would say the A to Z Gundam's definitely up there. That's a really cool kit that I like a lot. The Silver Bullet, not necessarily the suppressor version because I haven't built that one yet, but just the standard Silver Bullet, really fun kit. I really like that one a lot. I'm a big fan of the Gustav Karl just for the design. And as far as kits that people don't really talk about a lot that I really like, I would say the high grade Arios Gundam is actually really high up there. It's a very cool kit because the whole thing transformed. It's got a great transformation and almost no parts forming. The only parts forming you have to do is take the back skirt off the polycap and then reattach it facing the other way. And if they had a round peg attaching that piece instead of a square one, you'd actually be able to do the whole transformation without parts forming. So it's a really cool kit. Had some really neat engineering in it. It's a little bit dated just because it's from Double O, so it's like 11 years old now, but it's still a really cool kit, and I had a lot of fun building it, and I still to this day recommend it, just because it's a neat, obscure model that not a whole lot of people think to build nowadays. What's special about the Gaia Gundam? Um, well, for me, I just like the design. As for what makes it rare, well, I don't know for sure. Bandai doesn't seem to produce enough of them to meet demand. It is, like I said in the unboxing video, it was part of a team of three. The pilot of the Gaia Gundam, the most popular character out of the three pilots by far, so that probably factors into it a lot. And although the show's been out for well over a decade, I think actually a decade and a half now, so you'd think by now they would have realized that Stella's a popular character and the Gaia Gundam's a popular Gundam, and they should probably print that kit just a little bit more often. But I believe you can actually still get one right now at New Type, so if you follow the link in the description below and use code Channel2S, you'll get 10% off. And there's my sponsor plug for the stream. Will we ever get an MG Pale Rider? Oh, I hope so. That would be awesome. Base it off the GM Dominance. That could be really, really cool. Let me just get caught up with the chat here. So, what would be better to get, the HD Perfectibility or the MG version? Have I tried Battle Operations 2? I haven't tried Battle Operations 2 because I don't have a PS4, but it looks like a really fun game. I would say go with the HD Perfectibility. The Master Grade one is like $200, $250 depending on where you get it, and that's just too much to pay for an MG Unicorn. I mean, it's a cool looking kit. It is exclusive, but it's not worth that much. It really, really isn't. And the MG Unicorn is one of those kits where the more crap there is on it, the more weapons it has on it, generally the worse it makes it because it's not a very stable kit. So with something like the Perfectibility that's basically the full armor Unicorn Plan B with even more crap on it, that is honestly one of the last unicorns I'd recommend. Now the high grade doesn't transform, it's kind of a dated kit, the articulations are not very good, but compared to the MG, I'd honestly say it's still a better deal. What Gunpla do you think holds up pretty well to this day? Actually, you know what? I'm going to say the Arios again. Although I guess the new Gundam would be another pretty good answer because that kit also holds up quite well. Heavy Arms Eagle, hang on, Heavy Arms Eagle unit. Still curious why it needs Gorai tracks. Well, I'm assuming they're to kind of help support the suit to keep it from getting blown backwards when it fires all those missiles. What other Gunplas are that are based on the original Gundam, like the O Gundam and the Age 1? Almost every Gundam series has a Gundam that's either inspired by the RX-78, like the ones you mentioned, or is literally developed from it, like the Gundam Alex or the GPO-1. There's basically one for every Gundam series, almost. I saw a speed build for the MG Perfectibility. It fell apart when the builder tried to pose it for the video. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Have I built any Reborn 100 kits? I have built a couple of Reborn 100 kits, and I have a couple more in my backlog, including the Zaku 2FZ, which I'd like to get to next month. Anyone else think the upcoming MG Barbatos's mace looks too small? Not really. I think it looks fine. I think that kit looks actually better than fine. That kit looks phenomenal. Have I built a 007 sword? No, but I really want to pick up the MG. Oh, you meant the MG. Yeah, I haven't built it, but I built the 00 Riser, or more specifically the XN Riser. Love the hell out of that kit. It's a fantastic model, and to this day, my favorite Master Grade ever. Yes, I am definitely going to be getting the 7 sword at some point, because I loved building that kit, and I'd really like to build it again. Favorite Gundam series opening? There's a lot of ones I like. When this question comes up, well, it's not technically a Gundam series. I always like to mention the opening from Stargazer because it's a really nice song. I like it a lot, and it's so obscure that I honestly couldn't even find out who sang it. Like, I googled the name that was credited to it, and I couldn't find anything about them, or actually, I don't remember if I found a name credited to it. It's like a really obscure song, but it sounds really nice. Another one that I like a lot is again, not a series opening, but an opening that I really like from Gundam. The opening song from Awakening of the Trailblazer. That was another really good one. And I always like to mention those two when someone asks that question because those are really nice songs that no one ever mentions when you ask them what their favorite Gundam opening is. What is my least favorite kit build? One of my least favorites is always going to be the Reborn's Gundam because it was the first kit that I built that was actually below average. And I was really disappointed by it because the only thing I built before it was the 00 Riser. That kit was amazing. Following it up with the Reborns, that was when I realized not all Gunpla are as perfect as the 00 Riser. And in that way, it kind of is still the quote-unquote worst kit that I've built just because no other kit has disappointed me quite as heavily as that one has. At least off the top of my head. I'm sure there's probably others that I've built. I kind of tend to lose track of what I've built a lot. Yo, Channel 2S, morning from the Philippines. Well, evening from America, Fort. Your most hated character in the whole Gundam series? Probably Kira. I wish there was an HG Unit 4 and 5 Gundams. Yeah, that would be really cool. Hey, Backstop. Random question, but I don't know what to pick. Should I build the RG Destiny or RG Crossbone? I would say RG Crossbone. Ever build resin kits? I've looked at getting into resin before, and I've seen some really cool kits, and the resin kits have always seemed more enticing to me than customizing standard Bandai Gunpla, because with the Gunpla, if you don't customize it, you still get a pretty good end result. But with the resin stuff, you kind of have to paint it, but once you paint it, you get this really cool model that's either way more detailed than the Bandai version, or it's something completely original that Bandai's never made. So that part of it has always really appealed to me, but I've never started working on anything resin or picked up any resin kits because I don't have a dedicated workroom to work in. This table and this stuff you see here, this is in my bedroom, and I don't really want to get resin dust all over my living area. So because I don't really have like a room set up or any of the proper equipment to work with resin stuff, I haven't tried any of it out yet. But I would like to at some point. Have I built the MG Verkos Sazabi? No, but I probably will at some point because that thing is a legend. SimPro's GM Spartan kit is beautiful. I think I might have seen that one before. So, we are now about half an hour into the stream, so I think now would be a good time to actually start building. So, this is a older model kit, which means this is before Bandai had the innovative and fantastic idea to stamp the letter on the runner all the way through so you can actually see it, which means that the runner markings look like this, i.e. you can't see them unless there is a light shining directly onto them. So I'm going to put these in alphabetical order so I don't have to guess which one is which. And the kit only has 4 runners, so that took no time at all. Okay, so I might actually be able to finish the kit this stream because I usually take a while to build my kits. I kind of take my time and break it up into a few different parts. Sometimes I'll throw on some long-form YouTube video to watch with it. Recently I've been watching through my PewDiePie's Minecraft playthrough as I build. I'll just throw on a few, I'll just kind of not watch them during the week and let them build up, and then when I'm sitting down to build a kit, I just throw on the playlist, and it's a pretty great time. Non-Gundam related question, do you prefer hotter or colder climates? I kind of prefer hotter climates, but I live in Maine, so I'm kind of stuck with the opposite. What do you think is the most reprinted kit of all time? Probably some RX-78 kit, probably like the Perfect Raid or something, because that's the one that's been around for the longest without getting a 2.0. So I would say that's. Although the bigger, more expensive kits tend to not be. It probably hasn't been, just going off pure quantity, hasn't been printed in as many units, but I think Bandai's probably printed more batches and production runs of it because they always seem to keep it available and in stock. What was your age when you received your first Gundam? I believe I was no, I think I was 14, I want to say, but I'm not sure exactly. I was either 13 or 14, probably 14. I like your workstation. I have the smallest computer desk that's mostly taken up by keyboard and mouse. Yeah, this actually kind of doubles as my computer desk, which is actually why I use a laptop as my computer, because that means I can just lift it off the table and move it somewhere else when I'm building, and I basically have two desks in one. Favorite villain of all time in Gundam? I mean, it's hard to top Char. Like, it's really hard to top Char, so I'm just gonna say Char. What will you do when Bandai makes a high-rise... Oh, I'm assuming you mean like high-resolution model of the Shining Gundam to go with the God Gundam. I think that would be pretty cool. I would have to see the design, because with high-res models, they can't really say, oh, what if they did this kit, what if they did that kit? You really have to see the design itself, because they always redesign them so heavily, and sometimes it looks really cool, sometimes it doesn't necessarily look so cool. Oh, hey, Krosama. The reason I asked for which perfectibility to get is I've built 3 HG unicorns and no MG yet. Well, I'd still probably recommend building a 4th HG. My workstation is just a foldable table in your room. Well, you gotta work with what you got. I'm also building a Gunpla right now, the Curios. Nice. I want to get a foldable table for my living room, but there's no room. Me, I received my first Gundam when I was 6. It was Wing Zero HD clear version. I destroyed it, removing all the... I'm assuming he means runners. Yes, building a Gunpla at 6 is... I can't see that going well for anyone. Bandai just did a reprint run of the HD Zaku Phantom if you're still looking. I actually have an HD Zaku Phantom. It's up in one of the piles of boxes over here. WoW has taken my life over once again, man. Really? I didn't know you played WoW, Crow. I thought Pokemon Masters was gonna be taking over all your life. Hype for the MG Barbatos, and we'll be getting Bandai Gundam Limited Super Fumina Axis Angel version Mark II Axis, the red one, this September. Okay, that was more words than I was expecting to read in that comment. Currently building an HG Crossbone X3. Nice. Do you think we'll ever get a 2.0 Master Grade Ground Gundam? Definitely. And I think we won't be seeing a Master Grade Blue Destiny until we get that kit, but once we get that kit, MG Blue Destiny, pretty darn likely. I wonder if there's a resin part of the Curios for the Gust form. I feel like I've seen that before. I'd say it's very likely. I almost bought that Gundam last week, ended up flipping a coin for Abyss. Dude, you should go back and get the Gaia. It's a super cool kit. And it's a lot harder to find than the Abyss, too. My first kit was the HG Phoenix G. Okay, that's a pretty interesting one to start with. Been playing WoW since 2006. Okay. So I'm assuming you're playing, like, WoW Classic or the current generation one? Not that that answer would mean anything to me, because I don't really play WoW, but I've heard that WoW Classic is, like, the new thing that all the veteran players are getting excited for. My first kit was the HG Shining, age 15, 7 hours to build. Okay, that sounded like one of those old Toonami Gunpla commercials. Got lucky with the armball joint. Alright. Have I built any Eva kits? No, I have not. Mostly because I'm not really a fan of the mecha from Evangelion, or creatures, or whatever they're supposed to be. I just don't like the designs. I haven't really been actually able to get into Eva much at all. Yes, I'm one of the 15 people on the planet that doesn't really like Evangelion that much. Have I built any of the 30-minute mission kits? No, I haven't. If I see one that like really grabs my interest that I think has a cool design, I might give it a try. My first Gundam type mobile suit I ever bought in my life was Heavy Arm. Since when I was little, I loved Gatling gun on a mobile suit. Yeah, Gatling guns makes everything cooler. I've always really, really liked Gatling guns on mecha. Will you be getting the Re-Rise kits? I'm gonna get that Xeon. I'm gonna get that Xeon New Gundam because that looks really cool. I might get the Justice. That's about it. Like, well, actually, no. That's not really true. I'm gonna get like probably one version of the lead Gundam. I don't know which one, but I'm gonna get one of them just because. But I'm not gonna go all out in the line. In fact, I don't really tend to get a whole lot from the build lines. He says as he looks at like half a dozen Build Divers kits in his backlog. So A10. A9. I wish I could put the camera up a little higher, but that's about the best I can do right now without making things very precarious. And I need a PCK. What is my favorite Char MS? I mean, my gut instinct was to say Sinanju, although that's not really a Char suit. My favorite Char MS, I really like his Gelgoog. His Gelgoog's really cool, and the Sazabi is cool as well, but I think the Gelgoog is more consistently cool because it's kind of a tough question to answer when it comes to, you know, suits that you like or don't like when they're from really old shows, because I was actually having this discussion with someone earlier. The problem with a lot of the older designs is they're very inconsistent. Like, I like how, you know, there's a few Sazabi kits that look really cool. There's some figures of it that look cool. You know, in some of the crossover games it's appeared in, like Gundam Extreme Versus, for example, it looks pretty cool. But sometimes in some scenes in the movie doesn't look so cool. In the line art, not as big a fan of it. With a lot of those older mecha, because the shows had kind of a looser art style and the designs would kind of fluctuate from scene to scene. I never like to say that I'm a fan or not a fan of any of them because each one of them is practically like a dozen different designs, just with how much their designs kind of vary depending on who's drawing them and what scene they're being drawn in. So that's why when you hear me talk about like my favorite mobile suits, I usually don't say a lot about the suits from original Gundam, especially just because, well, it's hard to like it's hard to well, hard to speak right now, but it's hard to like get across which version I like, or even like recall if there's a version that I like. Have I done a video showing all of my completed kits? I did one last year, but I haven't done one for this year. Also, it's a little bit hard to show all my completed kits because not everything I have is on display because I have a finite amount of space to display everything. So there are some kits that I've built that I actually put back in the box and they're hiding out in that wall there because I just don't have room to display them. Do I think we'll get a 2.0 Zaku 1? Definitely. I think it's definitely going to happen eventually. Favorite shark clone of all time? I really like McGillis. His plan kind of crashed and burned at the end of the show, but I still thought he was a really cool character. Been a while since I last watched you stream. Well, it's been a while since I've actually done a stream. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. My first Gunpla was the Wing Gundam Zero from the 90s when Wing came to the States. It was also my first painted build. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people started with the wing kits. So A21s and A14 and 15. So which one's 17, 13, 26, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 2 red pieces. So now that we got bilingual manuals, I think the next innovation for Gunpla instructions should be full color manuals. So you can see what color the parts are, and that way you can more quickly find them on the runners. Do I like Kamen Rider? I used to like Kamen Rider a lot. I used to watch it a lot. I actually still have a couple figure arts, but I haven't watched it in quite a while. I'd say it's been probably around 4 years, 5 years. But I've heard there's some good series that I need to get caught up on. I think the last Kamen Rider thing I saw was a clip from, I believe, the newest show, the anniversary one with the time guy, where one of the suit actors was like chasing, it was like a scene where like they were chasing each other around like a warehouse or something, and one of the suit actors just takes a tumble, and he just like gets up, and they just left it in the show apparently. That was the last thing I saw from Kamen Rider. Geo, I think it was called Kamen Rider Geo, but spelled with a Z because it's Japanese. My first ever kit was the Calamity Gundam back in 2013. Okay. Kind of surprised you picked the Calamity Gundam in 2013. That's a pretty old kit. Interesting choice to start with. Yep, okay, nubs are all off of that. Waiting 3 years for another Gundam universe must be taking a toll on Sunrise. Oh, as in like another Gundam timeline. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering when they're gonna actually do like a new alternate universe show, because it's been like, yeah, it's been like 3-4 years now. Getting thirsty for some new Gundam. I can only buy limited kits because I'm sharing a room with my brother, and he hates when I clog the box in a room. Yeah, I hate when I clog the boxes in my own room, but I can't bear to throw them out, so I just have piles of boxes everywhere. I actually had to start a 1, 2, 3, fourth backlog pile a couple days ago when I got a new order in, because I ran out of room. So, that's nice. But I like having the big backlog because it kind of motivates me to build more. I see all these kits that I have that I need to get through, and it just makes me want to build. Does anyone know if Thunderbolt's being continued? I doubt it at this point. If we were going to get a season 3, we probably would have gotten the announcement a while ago. Did you ever drop a Gundam series before? I've dropped a few Gundam series before. Not always because I didn't like them, sometimes just because I didn't have time to finish them, or like Gundam X, for example, when I first watched it, I was watching it just on YouTube, like not even Gundam Info. Someone just like had like randomly just pirated the show on YouTube, and I started watching it, and I didn't realize they only uploaded the first like 25 or 26 episodes. So I stopped watching, and then like not long after the DVD set got announced, so I said, okay, well, I'll watch it when I get it on DVD. And then about a year went by, and I never picked it up on DVD. And eventually, I did pick it up on DVD, and that was like 8-9 months ago, and I still haven't watched it. So when I drop a show, it usually doesn't mean I hate the show. It just means I'm really frickin' lazy. But yeah, there's a lot of Gundam series I've dropped. In fact, almost every Gundam series I've seen, I dropped at one point and then came back to it. There's very, very few, if any, that I've actually watched in one continuous run. Took me a long time to finish Double O, took me a long time to finish Zeta. First kit that I actually completed was a Brave Commander type. Interesting choice. Unicorn OST is good. Yeah, the US Unicorn OST is really good. First real grade was the GPO 1FB and also your last. Yeah, I could definitely see that. That is definitely a kit that would turn me off of RGs if that was my first. Is that Turbo Dork paint? Yes, it is. That's actually for that custom I was talking about earlier that I was going to do over the summer and then didn't do over the summer, and I'm maybe going to do over the fall, but might just end up procrastinating indefinitely. I don't know. Am I going to get that new Gundam? Yes, I'm going to get the new Gundam. I wasn't going to get it, but everyone's so hyped for it, and I mean, I don't like real grades that much. I'll build them. I kind of enjoy them, but I don't like them as much as master grades or high grades, but I mean, I kind of got to try it. Like, it seems like it's this really cool kit. So I'm gonna buy it and give it a fair chance. I mean, I wasn't super hyped for the Moon Gundam either, but then I ended up picking it up anyways. And once I cracked it open, I changed my mind about the Moon Gundam pretty quick. I just watched War in the Pocket. It played electric guitar on my heartstrings. Yeah, War in the Pocket just a masterpiece. Honestly, that is just a classic of anime. There we go. There's our first sticker that looks conspicuously like a sticker because it's way more foil and shiny than everything around it. So nice to see the P Bandai X3 came with the screw whips. Yeah, they did a pretty good job with the accessories for the P Bandai crossbones, which is good because the crossbones got a lot of weapons. Thing's just a human-shaped Swiss Army knife. Do I have the RG Sosby? No, but I am gonna get one at some point because that kit looks really, really, really cool. Any guesses for the next Master Grade? I mean, I want to see Curios. I don't think it's going to be Curios, but I really like it to be. Have I experienced a gunpla that's accidentally or intentionally destroyed by a family member or friend? Not really. I think the only gunpla that I've ever broke have all been completely my fault. Like, actually, I got to give a shout out here to my cats for being the most incredibly careful animals I have ever seen in my life. Even when I first got them when they were kittens, they are very, 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 very careful around my gunpla. They don't touch anything. They don't bump into anything. They don't swish things with their tail. If they happen to be on a table that has gunpla on it, they tread like they're in a frickin' minefield. It's actually kind of impressive. Revive of Gundam Alex? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. How big and pricey the MG Virtue would be? Oh man, if they do the Nod Light transformation, that kit would be that would have to be like a at least like a 7,500 yen kit, maybe even more, maybe even like 9,000. That would be not a cheap kit at all. So, oh well, we're done with the torso. We put like 5 pieces together, and that's it. That's the whole torso. I wasn't really paying attention, but that's a fifth of the kit done, I guess. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pieces. And it's got this awkward peg sticking out of the back for the backpack. And shoulder pegs instead of swing out polycaps because this is a 15-year-old kit. Nice. Okay, let's move on to the head. I should pick up a liquid chrome marker. I've seen those before. They do look kind of cool. So A11 and 12. So we got about 36 people in the stream. That is not bad at all. Then we gotta have this, gotta have the V-fin. Gotta make sure we don't break it. And then I need the inside of the face and I need the faceplate. So here's the inside of the face. Reborn's Gundam for MG 2020. Oh man, I want an MG Reborn so bad. Like, it's probably not going to happen for a really, really long time, but that is like my most wanted MG ever. Hold on a sec. Do you think the cast-off system for Virtue would be the same as the MG Alex? No, I think it would be more complicated because the outer armor for Virtue isn't just some gray plating. It's basically an entire Gundam inside of a Gundam. All this, that level of surface detail and that complexity that they put into a master grade, they'd have to do that twice. They'd have to do it for the Nodlay, and then they'd have to do it for the Virtue armor. So that would be a really crazy detailed kit. And seeing as Bandai has had this trend lately of skimping on inner frames, and they especially did it for the Alex 2.0 because it had that kind of two-layered frame thing going on with the armor. Imagine how, like, insubstantial the inner frame would be on a master grade Virtue going off of what Bandai does nowadays. It would be literally just a bunch of gray sticks like the Thunderbolt Gundam's frame. I think that was the Thunderbolt. Yeah, that was the Thunderbolt Gundam that had the really, really basic ass boring frame. Oh, that's all. That is all the pieces I need. Okay. Yeah, man, my RG Banshee V-fin came broken. Oh, that sucks. Luckily, it was a fixed one. I didn't plan to use it. Well, that's good. You kind of lucked out there with a broken part on one of the few Gundam kits that comes with multiple V-fin options. Have I ever built LBX kits? No, I haven't, and I don't really understand why all of a sudden, over the last year or so, Bandai has been suddenly making new LBX kits. I thought that franchise was dead years ago. Do I think the Marasai looks better in Xeon Remnant colors? Yes, I do. I think the Unicorn Marasai is the Marasai. That is a very, very cool color scheme for a cool mobile suit. And I like how they gave it the Hammurabi gun, too. Any toolkits you recommend, since I most straight build them, but I did have a nail filer? This is all you need. And like I said before, doesn't even have to be God hands. You just got to have something to clip the parts, and then a nice hobby knife, just a basic X-Acto kind of thing, to trim off the dub marks. Honestly, these two tools, these are what I use 99% of the time when I'm building. They've lasted me for many, many years, and if you're doing straight builds, this is pretty much all you need. Only other thing that could be maybe helpful would be a pair of tweezers for handling small parts and decals. But that aside, you can't beat the most iconic duo of all time, basically. Yeah, the nubs on this kit are about as good as you would expect them to be on a 2005 model. I'm doing my best to kind of mitigate marking here, but it's giving me a bit of trouble. Fortunately, though, I did change out my knife blade before I built this, so I am coming in with a fresh blade. A honed edge. Now imagine an RGF 90. I guess. I just want the Master Grade, honestly. I really want to pick that kit up. With some of these nub marks too, they weren't as good back then as they are now at making it clear what part is nub and what part is important for the kit. So there's some parts here on the side of the face that are a little bit less than clear as to which parts are supposed to be cut off and which parts are supposed to be saved. So I might have just screwed something up a little bit, but I don't think it'll be even visible once the kit's all together. I had to find a position where I can hold this stuff where you can see it, but it's also in the light and also at an angle where I can see it. Are you trying to get in or out? Oh, you're... Wait. Right. Kitty. Hey, Anna. Oh, you're coming in. Okay, well, hello. Cat was knocking. Do you think Bandai went too much with the Advance of Zeta stuff? I myself am a huge fan, yet my bank of energy can't deal with it all at once. You know what? I kind of agree with you. I think they are going a little... I think they realized they found this niche. They found a way to release the Advance of Zeta kits, and they're just trying to push them all out before the hype dies. I could definitely understand if you're getting tired of them. I'm having frame drops. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. My internet speed's not great. It's better than it used to be, but it's still not super great. Oh yeah, I had to repair a guy after the wife clipped the wrong thing. Yeah, they're not very clear with the way the gates are placed, like what parts you're supposed to keep and shave off. Like I was doing the nub marks on the sides of the face thing here, and there was like these outcroppings next to the face that the nub went kind of right onto, and it's not really clear where one starts and one ends. So I kind of just guessed at it. Hopefully it doesn't turn out too bad. I wish the F90 wasn't P Bandai. Yeah, that really should have been a retail kit. In my opinion, what is the most overrated Gunpla kit by other reviewers? I'd have to think about that one for a minute. I mean, there are a lot of MG kits that I just don't really care that much about because I'm always more of an HG guy. In fact, actually, one that I think is a little bit overrated that I built recently is the Master Grade Freedom Gundam 2.0, because that kit, when I built it, that thing just felt so basic. Like there's no inner frame on the arms practically. Like there's some, but it's just the kit feels so cheap. It feels like they were making a kit of the Freedom, right? So it's the Freedom Gundam. It's got the big wings. It's got a lot of extra crap on it. But I think they wanted to keep the price around the same as like a normal average Master Grade. So they just slashed the cost of the body so they could fit the whole package in a more reasonable price point. That's what I think they did. Because the kit feels really, really basic. Now the surface detail's nice, and the proportions, they're something, I guess. I don't really like them that much, but it's not the worst thing ever. But yeah, it feels really cheap, and kind of almost too basic for a master grade. I was not super impressed with it. I wish we'd get more Sentinel, but legal issues get in the way. Yeah, I want to see more Sentinel. I'm still pissed that Bandai basically conned us out of a 2.0 XS Gundam by releasing that stupid combo pack thing. That is just the worst thing Bandai has done. That is probably one of the few kits that I am like legitimately mad at, just because like whenever Bandai doesn't make a kit, there's always the chance they're gonna make it. It's like, oh, they didn't make, Master Grade Curios this year, but maybe they'll make it next year. This was basically Bandai saying, no, fuck you, you're not getting a Master Grade XS Gundam 2.0. Because that was them basically saying that's not going to happen. And that really pissed me off. And I'm still salty about it to this day. I've been thinking of buying my first Gunpla, but I don't know which to choose. I kind of like the Tri-Burning and the Double O Sky. Yeah, those are both really good kits to start with. I would recommend either of those. Although maybe I would recommend the Double O Sky a little bit more. Alright, time to focus on putting the eye sticker on without screwing it all up. Okay. Well, that worked better than I thought it would. You ever have the mistake of cutting off a PC peg because you thought it was a nub? I haven't had that happen with a polycap because the polycaps are always usually a pretty standard size, so they're kind of a standard shape rather. So you can kind of tell, like, obviously, this part's supposed to stay, this part's supposed to be cut off. So I've never had an issue with polycaps, but I have had similar both close calls and actual screw ups with non-polycap parts on kits. The first one that comes to mind was one of those little bits on the missile pods for the full armor unicorn that go on the legs that kind of extend down, like the pods that clip on the side. You got the missile pods up here, and there's like a little flap that comes down. And I actually trimmed off one of those flaps on one side when I built mine. And that's probably one of the biggest screw ups I've made while building a kit, which in retrospect actually isn't even that bad. What do you think of the Double O Sky design? I despise it. I actually really like it. I think it's a really cool design, and I think it's a really cool kit too. It's actually one of the better kits I think I've built recently. Although I've built a lot of really good kits recently, so it still kind of gets pushed down to mid-bottom just by process of elimination. The only real kits not to do first is Verkaz and maybe not RG Zeta. Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment. The other Moon kits were dropped into the void. Well, that Varg kit they showed off wasn't actually meant to be a kit. That was just that was basically just them showing off that you could make a Varg out of your Moon Gundam if you wanted to, which is kind of weird, and I don't know why they did that, but that's apparently why they showed that off there and why we haven't seen a kit out of it. I've actually been looking into Gunpla and various kits for a long time. Don't know why I haven't bought one yet. Well, you should. You definitely should. Just showed up. How's the build process? I've put together the 5 pieces that make the torso, and now I'm working on the head. It's probably going to be done within the next 5 minutes or so, depending on how long I spend talking to the chat. Freedom 2.0 did feel like I was building an HD in places. Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got from it. I really wasn't as impressed with it as I have with a lot of other master grades I've built. What could be the next Build Diver MG that's not P Bandai? I don't think we're going to see any other Build Divers master grades. Like, I mean, outside of maybe something for Re-Rise, they just don't seem to be doing MGs for modern series anymore. I mean, it took them like, what, 4 years, 5 years to make a Master Grade Barbatos? The only Master Grade they've made for Build Divers was the Magnum. The only one they did for Build Fighters Try was the Red Warrior. They didn't do anything for G-Reco. For Origin, they just did a unnecessary RX-78 that wasn't even in the anime. They really don't seem to be... They don't seem to be doing those like currently relevant Master Grade kits as much anymore, which is kind of a bummer because I miss having like relatively fast lead MG Master Grades. Like it's nice to get all these remakes of older kits and the suits we've been waiting for a really long time, like the Dynamez. But you know what? I kind of want a G Self, and I'd honestly really like to see a Master Grade 00 Diver, because it's based off that 00 Riser mold, and that is, as I believe I said earlier, my favorite Master Grade ever. So these go together like that. Every time I look at this, it looks like there's a nub still on it, but there isn't. Or is there? There wasn't. So, is there a back? So, okay, so there's no back camera sticker. Is there a back camera? Kind of. It's very small. Viewership's going up. We got 43 people watching right now. This must be some really exciting head assembly for you guys. Hold on. Was I supposed to put on the... Yep. I was supposed to put on the face first. It's official, guys. This is our first screw up of the build. I forgot to put the faceplate on the face before I put the front of the helmet on. Actually, you know what? I didn't just forget to put it on. I forgot to cut it off the runner. What is that? C12? Does this thing have a... It does. It has a purple faceplate. Huh. Well, I did not notice that before. That is the last runner I would expect the faceplate to be on. I've never thought of the Gaia Gundam as having a gray faceplate. I've always thought of it as black. They really were a lot more out there with the color schemes on the seed suits. They played around a lot with what color schemes could work on a Gundam. And I think a lot of them actually turned out pretty well. Although I suppose you kind of have to be creative if you're making like 40 different Gundams for the same show. Is that? Yeah, I think that's all of them. So let me just pop these all together. And I realize, I know you kind of can't see what I'm doing most of the time, but I can't really hold this somewhere where I can see it and you can see it at the same time, so I kind of have to kind of pick and choose as I'm building what I show you and what I actually look at myself. But we are one piece away. And now we are 0 pieces away from having a finished head. All right. Pop that on the poly cap. And you know what? For a 15-year-old kit, I think that's looking pretty cool. I like that a lot. Hold on, let me get caught up in the chat. There's a lot of talking going on here. I started with the Build Fighters K9 Sniper and Amazing Camphor. Now I mostly build 00 kits and Zeta. I actually built the Gym Sniper K9 pretty early on too. It's a really fun kit when you're starting out because you get so many options with it. A lot of things to play around with. And you can basically just build it as a normal sniper too as well. HobbyLink Japan's a good site. Yeah, if you're international and you can't get stuff through NewType, I would recommend HobbyLink Japan or Hobby Search, or actually there's a site called Banzai Hobby, BANZAI, that has really good prices, and they're from Japan, so they ship pretty much anywhere you can get stuff from Japan. As in, like, if you're in a country where you can order things from Japan, I would probably recommend one of those sites I just mentioned. Although I can't think of any countries off the top of my head that have, like, barred commerce from Japan or something, so I guess that's not really a necessary caveat. HOJ is okay, shipping's high if you're in the US. Yeah, I gotta commend the, not just NewType, but the US Gunpla stores in general. and really probably Bluefin as well, because I imagine they have a part in this, for the fact that it's now actually cheaper to get stuff in the US than it is from Japan. Because back when I first got into Gunpla, it was actually cheaper to order stuff from HOJ by a little bit than it was to get it from, like, because there was no USA Gundam store, there was no New Type, none of those really existed, so it was kind of expensive to get stuff. But now we've actually got some pretty great options in the US, so you don't need to buy stuff from Japan anymore, unless it's some limited thing that you have to get from there. MG trying to appeal to all the old dudes. Yeah, pretty much. Would it be a good idea to have a female as the main character in Gundam? Um, I mean, it would depend on the show. Like, original Gundam was kind of about a boy growing up, so I don't know if you reversed the gender, if it would really work as well. I certainly wouldn't want them to do it just because. I think they should have a good story reason for it, and I think it should make sense, and it shouldn't just be like, hey, we're making this one female because she has to be special and different and unique. I want them to, if they do that, I want it to make sense and feel meaningful. I'd say the most overrated kit is MG Nouveau Ka. Yeah, I've heard there's some issues with that kit, for sure, especially with the funnels. HG for the young kits and the new hotness. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, especially the non-HGUC lines. Amen Portugal. Okay, so I'd say Hobby Link Japan or Banzai Hobby. 1990. Someone mentioned 1999. That's another good choice. My heart is still waiting for that G-Cell for Ka. Yeah, mine too. It's funny because I didn't even like the G-Self until I saw the Robot Damashi, but that figure just did such a great job of showing how cool that design could be. My thoughts on special coating kits? I think a lot of Gundams don't really benefit from them, and the ones that do aren't undergated, so they end up looking kind of crappy anyways. I'm actually at one point was looking at getting a titanium finished master grade Sinanju, which would be horribly expensive, but just because I wanted to look for it, because I thought, you know what, it could be cool. It would be a dumb purchase, but it would look cool. But then I started looking at pictures, and the nub marks were really bad, so I didn't end up getting one. Thoughts on the HG Penelope? I think it's very big. I think it's kind of cool, but it's not really cool enough for me to get it on release. And also, it's coming out the same month as the high-res God Gundam, so I'm definitely not going to be able to get both of those at the same time. You might want to look into websites of your country to see what your own people use for Gunpla. I would agree with that, although I kind of doubt there's any local Gunpla stores in Portugal. I think that would be kind of a stretch. Well, it's 2 a.m. and I should get some sleep. Just kind of joined to say hello and a very late welcome back to the channel. Thanks a lot for answering my questions. Oh, no problem, although I do realize that by the time I answered them, it's entirely possible that you were already in bed. They're making a 40K kit. No, I think the Bandai Warhammer stuff is just figures. Like, I don't think they're doing actual models. As cool as it would be to see Games Workshop collaborate with Bandai to kind of have like Bandai design some miniatures for them. I think their collaboration is just for figures. Guitar picks are great for part separating. That's actually a really good idea. I'm gonna have to try that. That's a really good idea. I am UK, Hobby Surge 1999, as well as Hobby Link are very honest in shipping, but customs read me hard on my first orders. Yeah, that's the other thing you have to deal with sometimes if you're ordering stuff internationally, is you can get screwed over really hard on customs depending on where you live. MG burning Gundam, build burning Gundam would be cool. Yes, it would. My first two kits were the HG Revive RX-78 and RG Mark II Titans. Those are both excellent choices to start with. Have I built the line from the Mazinger Infinity movie? No, but they look really cool. But with the Mazinger kits, they're all so similar to each other that I probably wouldn't build more than one. So I just haven't picked out like one in particular that I'd want to build yet. Just because I wouldn't build them all because I'm not really a Mazinger fan. But like they're cool enough that I would probably try one of them. But I definitely wouldn't buy more because they're just too samey to me. Animate a Col du Ciel, there's your female MC. Yeah, that would be an option. I haven't actually read a Col du Ciel, so I'm not sure how good it is. I might actually do that sometime though, just because I think it's got a translation. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's hard to get into Gundam manga because half the stuff's not even translated, and the half of what is translated isn't translated fully. So there's so many times where I've started reading a Gundam manga, and I've just realized, like, a dozen chapters in, or even, like, 5 chapters in, that, like, Zeonic Translations did the first few chapters and then dropped it to do some other project that they then dropped a week later to do some other project, and just continuously kept translating the first 2 chapters of everything ever and all this random crap from these books and side stories and stuff, and just doesn't finish a project. And he's like the only guy that actually does translation for Gundam manga, and it's kind of annoying. Seriously, like if I knew Japanese better, I would start like my own Gundam manga like scanlation ring, because we need more people translating Gundam manga. Like, seriously. Just built the Gilashiki and it's spectacular because mostly undergated. Oh, nice. That is really cool. Oh, you know what? That's the same mold as the Delta Gundam. So they probably already designed it with undergating, or they already designed some of the armor pieces with undergating because of that, because it's like the same mold. Although, wait a minute, hang on. I don't think the Gilashiki and Megashiki use any of the armor from the Delta Plus line. I think they just use the frame. So they must have. So they must have, when they were designing the Megashiki, planned for a gold-plated version, which still is pretty cool. Because it's always nice to see plated kits that actually have the proper undergating. Yeah, local shops for me too in the UK tend to price their GMs 3 times the price and MGs 3 times or 4 times. Oh wow, that sucks. When you can order them from Japan for a normal price. Yeah, depending on where you live. In the US, we're kind of lucky. We have pretty good cheap options for Gunpla, but in a lot of other parts of the world, it probably is cheaper to just get stuff from Japan. I'm from. Oh wow. So Ramiro's from Uruguay and says that everything that is imported has a 60% tax on it. Well, I feel sorry for you, Ramiro. That is pretty bad. I found one place in London. Guy just started stocking Gunpla. I talked to him and was saying this is all super fair prices. I'm amazed. Well, that's nice. Do you think Bandai will make another Gundam game? I mean, I'd like them to, but given their track record for the last few years, I really don't want to see what kind of shit they pull this time. Like, every time they make a Gundam game now, it just seems like they get worse and worse and worse. And I just really don't want to see them go lower than New Gundam Breaker. I can't take a Gundam game that's worse than that. I mean, there's that cross race thing, and that could be okay. I've heard absolutely jack about it, even though, like, it was announced, and then there was no other information. I think it came out like last month or something. Like, the game should be out by now. I don't think it was coming out that far in the future. But the fact that, like, nobody has said a word about it kind of, I feel like that speaks volumes about it, that just no one is even talking about it. A Cole is translated as far as the manga went and never really finished. Okay, so even the writer got bored with it. I'd say it's mostly import taxes and customs. Okay. Oh, that's responding to someone else. Bandai Primaris Marines will be figurized line judging from the size. See, I feel like I saw something that specified they were going to be figures specifically and not model kits. Like it was going to be like a Tamashii Nations thing or something, kind of like their maybe not like Gundam Universe, but like their Robot Damashi stuff or figure arts. A lot of Delta runners and Megashiki runners both litigated. Okay, and there is some Delta armor on it. I want a Gundam game import for the Switch. Well, I think I think Cross Rays is on the Switch, and I think there is like one of those like Asian English versions for it, and I'm pretty sure the Switch is region free, so you could probably just get that version and have pretty much the same experience, minus a few wonky translations maybe. Okay. Well, good night, Mr. Damrob. In the Philippines, the Gundams here are quite expensive, sometimes 2 times the original price. That's kind of, it always surprises me when people who are in like parts of Asia that are close to Japan say that they have expensive Gunpla, because you think they wouldn't be, because it's not like they have to like import them like across the Pacific Ocean or something. They're right there. They're next to Japan. You'd think those would be, those countries that are in Asia. Now I know some of them are farther than others, but you'd think like they would have like cheaper Gunpla than like maybe like U.S. or Canada does. That always kind of surprises me when I hear people talk about how expensive they are there. Mobile Suit Gundam Online is pretty fun. I think I've heard about that one. Like 2S is saying, I'm worried about Gundam games the last 3 years. Yeah, it's been going downhill. Battle Operations 2 is actually fun. I have heard that. I have heard that it is actually pretty good. I love playing Gundam Extreme Versus and Gundam Breaker 2 on PS3. Yeah, Gundam Extreme Versus was really cool. I wish we'd get a new. I wish we'd just get a Gundam Extreme Versus 2 port for the PS4. Like, how hard is it to just release the game? Because I did some research and apparently, yes, I know it's like the 5 minutes of Google searching kind of research, but it's still research. I did some research and apparently the type of arcade cabinet that Bandai Namco uses for the Gundam Extreme Versus games is literally basically just a PS4 in a box. Like the hardware and internals it runs off of is literally PS4 hardware. So it wouldn't even be that hard for them to port it to the PS4 as like a home console release. They just don't. Now, maybe they don't want to like take sales away from the arcade version, but I don't know. Like I want to see a good like Gundam Versus game that doesn't have a gimped roster, that doesn't have a bunch of random grunt suits nobody wants to play as. That just has a cool roster, has all the shows, has all the characters, and like they have it. They have the game. It looks phenomenal. I've watched so many gameplay videos on YouTube. It looks like a super fun arcade game, but there's just no home. There's no home version. So the only way to play it is to go to an arcade in Japan. And actually, because it has to like hook up to that like online arcade network thing, I don't even think you could physically own a copy of the cabinet if you're in the US. Like, even if you had a ton of money and you had like a personal arcade cabinet collection, I don't think you could even get an Extreme Versus 2 cabinet. Like, I think it has, if it's anything like a lot of like modern games nowadays, it probably has to like authenticate on the internet or some crap like that. So you probably wouldn't even be able to get it online. Oh, I can vouch for that. SD Gundam G Generation games are really good if you're into turn-based strategy. Yeah, I'm not so much a turn-based strategy game guy, but they do look pretty good. Gonna listen in while I airbrush and play around with the armored Komodo pigments. Okay, I don't think I've heard of that series before. Did you like playing Gundam Battle Gunpla Warfare? It was okay. I got bored of it pretty quick. I am gonna probably do a another video on it. But it actually made me, and I hate to say this because it makes the game sound worse than it is, but it made me want to play New Gundam Breaker. And I know that sounds like a damning criticism of Gundam Battle, Gunpla, whatever the hell they called it, but it really isn't. It's just that when I'm looking at this game and I'm looking at how this game is trying to make me pay real money to open gacha capsules for Gunpla parts, I just sit back and I think, why would I put money into this? I literally have a PC game that gives me the same satisfaction of finding Gunpla parts, except I get way more parts each time I play. I don't have to pay extra money to get more parts. It's not randomized. It's basically based off my combat skill and my ability to pick parts up off the ground that actually earns me those parts. Why am I playing this game? So I just went back to playing New Gundam Breaker. Would you agree that Gundam Assault 3 has the most annoying voice acting? Um, I'm not familiar with Gundam Assault 3. I couldn't comment on that. Oh, Battle Assault. Oh, is that that's the fighting game with the seed suits, right? I think I've seen a little bit of footage of that one. It looked like kind of a not a great game overall. Wow, 80 pounds for an MG Gundam 2.0. That's a pretty steep price. I think USA Gundam Store is promoting Armored Komodo pretty hard not long ago. Really? I don't remember that. Gundam Breaker 3 has been the ultimate breaker. Is let me put every single funnel part and use all the funnels at the same time. Yeah, Breaker 3 is fantastic. Like, that is the version of Gundam Breaker to play. Really, the only reason I even play New Breaker is just because I don't have a PS4. So this is the weirdest manual I've seen as far as build order, because they had us start with the torso, which is pretty normal, and then they had us do the head, and that's pretty normal. But now, before we build the arms, before we build the backpack, before we build anything else, they want us to make the rifle and shield. But hey, if the manual says it, that's what we're doing. So next we're going to build the rifle and shield. So the rifle is just 3 pieces. So this won't take long. Actually, I should check the... Ooh, I'm on like 30% battery, okay. After I get these parts trimmed out, I'm going to have to look for a charge cable. I think this is the barrel. Yes, it is. So it doesn't look like there's even a sticker for the scope on the rifle. I'm going to go get that. Ooh, don't trip over the light cable. That'll bring everything down. I'm going to get... Actually, you know what? I should use a USB to Type-C cable, because then I can just plug it into the laptop instead of taking it all the way back to the... Ooh. This is the part where everything's... Whoop, yep, I knew it. I shouldn't have touched anything. It's all falling apart now. Oh, crap. Hang on. Nope. Okay. It's balanced for now. I just have to very carefully sneak this cable around here. Okay, we're good. We're good. We have charge. The phone is stable. Nothing fell over. I can vouch for the Philippines. Prices here are 60 to 75% off the yen price. Oh, of the yen price. And add about $10 to $20 USD for shipping, especially if it's being shipped outside of the New York of the country, Manila. Okay. That actually doesn't seem too bad. Unless I'm misreading that. So, gotta snake myself back underneath the lighting cable. And wiggle my legs under the table without knocking everything over, and we are set. Hang on, what time? Okay, it's 9:30. Once it gets to around 9:45, the cats are going to start really bugging me to be fed. In fact, one of them's already circling around my feet like a shark, looking for blood. She can't find a treat on the floor. She can't find a treat on the floor unless I stick it right under her face, but man, does she know when it's dinner time. I don't know if those are crickets. I think that's actually, I can't tell if that's crickets or cicadas. I think it's crickets. Unless you're, I can't tell if you're being metaphorical or not because there are actually insects outside my window making noise. They might be crickets. Whatever they are, there's a lot of them. I really want to move the camera upwards so you can actually see what I'm doing as I'm building, but I also don't want to topple everything over. Whoa, that is a really bad frame rate. What is going on? Can you guys even hear me? Okay. Okay, so it's smoothed out a bit. I'm able to watch like a playback of the stream, but it's delayed by about 5 to 8 seconds. So if there's any point where the stream crashes, I won't notice until it's probably too late. Surround yourself with kids. The cat will be more careful in their approach. Must be fed to us. It's a way of life. Yes, it is. Seeing kids are the reason I got into the HGUC series. A lot to be desired in the old kids, but I'd love to see them revived. Yeah, that would be really cool. After building the Origin Zaku 2 Red Comet version, has the sticker that shows the 5 confirmed ship kills. Wonderful attention to detail. Yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, there is no sticker for the camera lens. The whole gun is just a big, old chunk of gray. Yeah, it's really frustrating when I'm looking at the preview screen there and it's just showing it at like 5 FPS. Now maybe that's my connection. Like maybe it's like my incoming internet connection that's showing it as bad and it's actually fine. But anytime I do something that like really drastically changes what's on screen, it just kills the frame rate. I know some of you guys are seeing it fine, but it's, again, I'm looking at something that's not exactly in sync with what you're seeing. So sometimes I see it looking stuttery, sometimes I don't. And then sometimes it looks stuttery to me, and then I play it back and it looks fine. So it's kind of weird. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is the gun is solid gray. There's no features of any kind, and it's supposed to be really bright and colorful. So I'm going to set that over here and snap up a shield, which is 2 pieces with a poly cap and a sticker. Just the one sticker, even though there's a lot of color details on the shield. Are you seeing a pattern yet? I call it the seed pattern. Your kits can't be sticker heavy if they don't have colored details in the first place. When your fans complain about too many stickers, just don't include stickers at all. Or include a lot of stickers for stuff that shouldn't be stickers, and then still have a bunch of areas with missing color separation. Here's the bottom of the shield. Is that how you pronounce Phoenix? Phoenix? It's a constant debate in my head. Yeah, sometimes I say Phoenix, sometimes I say Phoenix. I think it's supposed to be Phoenix. I think part of the challenge is I think they're both said the same way in Japanese. And I think that's what makes it confusing. So to the Japanese people who came up with the name, they both sound the same to them, but if you're an English speaker, they're 2 completely different sounding words. That was definitely a name that was come up with by a Japanese guy. PCM. That is a PCA. HIJKLM. Okay, so it's right here at the end. Polycap M. The remastered version of this was in my local hobby shop. We released the blue logo. There are 5 of them, $16 each. That's a pretty good price. And the blue logo version doesn't mean it's the remaster. This is still the original one from Destiny, just a newer printing of it. The remaster kits from Seed will have, instead of having the black backdrop, they will have a colored backdrop with the name of the kit kind of dynamically shown behind it. And they'll also, the model number will be R and then the number instead of just the number. Building my first high-res the Astray Noir. This boy got some thick thighs. Yeah, the high-res Astray is a pretty thick boy. Still photos, ha ha ha. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is sometimes when I'm moving around a lot, the frame rate just gets massacred and it goes down to like 5 FPS. But when I'm just sitting here just like moving my fingers and stuff, it's fine. It's only when I make like big movements. Haven't watched reviews in the Double Zeta Verka. Is it good? I haven't built it, but from what I've seen, it looks very good. Any info for Buku Kerberos? Really hard to get here without being ripped off. Yeah, the Buku Kerberos is still a really hard kit to find. You're going to have to wait a while longer for that to get re-released. So that is sticker O. Oh, yes. So right now you might be asking yourself, is this a bad sticker or did I just do a bad job applying it? Well, the answer is yes. So that's the shield. That's literally it. That's all you do to it. So there's the body. There's the rifle. There's the shield. I could start on the arms, but it's getting a little bit late here, so I think I'm just going to chat with the chat for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to go feed the cats because they're getting anxious. The Stargazer HG line is absolutely gold. Really need revive kits, especially the Strike Noir and Stargazer. Yeah, Strike Noir revive would be super easy for them. They got they got most of the parts they need for it already. I know 4 years ago, Double O kits had some sparse re-releases. That is true. Some of those kits were crazy expensive, but they've kind of leveled out by now. I got a 1.5 Gundam for 3 times retail price. Yeah, that was one of the really tough ones to find for a while. Kira or Shin, who do I prefer? No. What do I think has the worst seam lines? Worst seam lines on a kit that I've built probably was the no grade, or I guess not no grade. It was technically high grade, but I wouldn't grace the kit by calling it a high grade. The 1144th Toolkits 3 from Endless Waltz. That kit's seam lines weren't just like a gap between the parts. The parts would literally be attached together like this. Like the pegs and holes would be so off center that the parts would go together like this instead of this. It was really like embarrassingly bad. If you like smoothed out the parts, you would need to either shave off huge chunks of them or use just a ton of putty to just like reshape the entire forearm. I'm surprised you got as far with as much talking as you're doing. Yeah, usually I don't get far in these streams with building because of all the talking and chatting and stuff. But this kit is so easy and it's so few pieces that I was able to get a lot done with it. Although at the same time, if I wasn't talking, I probably could have finished the entire kit by now. P Bandai Strike E Noir, kind of what I want. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, the screen's frozen right now. Let me see if I can. Oh, well, for starters, my phone is very hot, so I think the phone might have overheated. Yeah, the screen's pretty borked right now.